If you're considering making a move to Atlanta, especially from the West Coast or the Northeast, there are a few things you need to know before making that decision. Today, I'll give you my top 5 pros and cons of living in Atlanta. My name is tfudge. I am Atlanta, Georgia's favorite running realtor with Keller Realty Atlanta Partners. Welcome to my channel. I make videos about what it's like to live, work, and play here in the Atlanta area. It's really great hearing from so many of you each week. I get calls, text messages, emails. I just love it. Before we jump into the list, I need to explain something to you first. Most people who think they're moving to Atlanta are not really moving to Atlanta. They're moving to the Atlanta metro area, which is huge. Big difference. I know because I was one of those people. I moved here from Dallas with my husband. Dallas is similar, but still very different. The first time I came here to check things out and look for a job, I was really surprised to find out that we were not moving to Atlanta, but we were moving to Roswell. So let's look at a map. So this is the city limits of Atlanta. This is what's considered the Atlanta metro area. Very big difference. My husband had lived here for about 15 years before moving to Dallas, where we met. The first thing he explained to me as we drove right through Atlanta from the airport was that I should look at the city as a big clock with 285 as the perimeter. The perimeter? Then he explained what's inside the perimeter versus what's outside the perimeter. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that now. We'll do that on another video. Back to the pros and cons of living in Atlanta. Based on my personal experiences, you really need to know these things before you make the decision to move here. My Floridian husband, I'm sure, will object to this, but one of the big pros of living in Atlanta are our mild winters. Sure, we get days where it gets down in the 30s at night, but then it's up in the 50s in the afternoon. Sounds pretty good to me. We certainly have storm systems that blow through and give us maybe 1 or 2 snow days a year, but that's it. And of course, when it happens, everybody rushes to the grocery stores. Publix and Kroger buys all the milk and eggs and bread they can find. And then we all get a snow day off. Yes, I know those of you who have lived through those winters will certainly make fun of us because we shut the whole town down because we don't know how to drive on the snow and ice. A lot of houses in the area have big steep driveways and you can't get in or out on the snow and ice. Me personally, I actually look forward to our winters. I'm a marathon runner. I literally survive through the summer to get these really nice days. My favorites are the days when I can run in shorts and maybe a light long sleeve shirt. But really when I'm comfortable is when I can wear short sleeves and gloves. It may look odd, y'all, but it is nice. And on those even chilly days, we still get a whole lot of sunshine. The second pro of living in Atlanta is our parks and trails. Whether you live inside or outside the perimeter, I can assure you there is a park or a trail system close by. Most of the trails are multi-use where you can run, bike, walk, or just hang out with your furry friends soaking up the sunshine. In the city of Atlanta, there are 338 parks alone. Westside Park is one of Atlanta's newest and largest outdoor destinations. It sits on over 280 acres that surround a reservoir that is actually a water source for the city. What used to be a quarry now is a park with trails, playgrounds, and all kinds of things. Piedmont Park is actually Atlanta's most visited destination. And every year on July 4th, it serves as the finish line and the celebration area for the world's largest 10K foot race, the Peachtree Road Race. The Atlanta Beltline is a multi-use trail and transportation network that's actually someday going to connect 45 neighborhoods with a 22-mile loop. Many parts of the Beltline are open now, and you can still get around some of Atlanta's favorite neighborhoods. I could go on and on about the Atlanta area parks and trail system. I have some favorites. I actually live out in Swanee, and one of my favorite running routes is the Swanee Greenway. It's over 6.5 miles long from end to end and growing yet. It's a multi-use trail. There's asphalt, there's concrete, there's some wooden boardwalk, a couple of places with restrooms and water fountains. It's really nice. The Swanee Greenway actually connects the Swanee Creek Park to George Pierce Park and Town Center Park. I also like to run the Big Creek Greenway out in Forsyth, as well as the Alpharetta Greenway. I almost forgot about the Silver Comet Trail and Cochran Shoals along the Chattahoochee River over in Cobb County. Did you know that Atlanta is actually labeled Run City? You can look that up. Next on my list of pros of living in Atlanta is the reasonable cost of living. So if the national average is a 100, Atlanta is right about 109. If you're coming here from another big city like New York or San Francisco, you're going to be very pleasantly surprised to see how far your housing dollars go. You're going to get a lot more house for your money. The median home cost here in Atlanta is only $334,000. A one-bedroom apartment is renting for about $1,800 a month, of course depending on the amenities and the exact location. Food and groceries, utilities, clothing, and other services are actually right at the national average or even a little bit below. Unfortunately, the cost of transportation in the Atlanta area is above the national average, and that's because we are really car dependent here. If you look it up on salary.com, you will see that if you move here from New York City, your actual cost of living is going to drop by over 44%, while your salary will only drop by 17%. That is a huge boost in your disposable income. Our awesome job market is number 4 on my list of pros for living here in Atlanta. So we are actually home to 16 Fortune 500 companies. Companies like Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, the Home Depot, UPS, just to name a few. Atlanta has also seen a big boom for entertainment jobs. We've got companies like Turner Studios, Tyler Perry Studios, Pinewood Studios. They're all bringing big productions to the area and the skilled labor needed to get it done. Atlanta also has some big healthcare employers in the area. We've got Emory, we've got Northside Hospital, and Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. They all employ a lot of people. Here, the average salary of $54,000 is well above the national average, and our unemployment rate is well below the national average. Number 5 on my list of pros may not mean as much to you as it does to me, but people are nice here. Southern hospitality is real, y'all. So my husband and I moved here, and I didn't know anybody. It's just the two of us, and we tend to eat out a lot, and we try to eat at the bar when we can. I meet people all the time. I meet people in the grocery store, out on the running trail, at the library. My husband will tell you that it's because I talk a lot. I don't think that's true. It might be because I'm a hugger. As much as I love living here in Atlanta, I don't love everything. So let's switch gears and talk about the cons about living in Atlanta. First on my list is the humid, hot summers. I told y'all I like to run in the winter. I really suffer through these summers. I can go out for a short run and I come back soaking wet from head to toe. It is really, really humid in our summers. You wouldn't think that 80 degrees would sound like an extreme, but when you tack on 90% humidity, it gets brutal. In the summer, I have to shift my training runs to 5 a.m. just to avoid the sun and the humidity. But it's also humid in the morning. My husband complains because I have to build more time into my weekly schedule just to wash my hair more often. The good news is that after a few weeks of running in it, I start to acclimate and it doesn't feel so bad, but it still feels bad for a while. But if you survive that humid summer, you're going to get that day where the temperature and the humidity drop just a little bit and it feels like heaven. And that's when we say, it's fall, y'all. Number 2, we have bugs. We have lots of bugs. So the climate and the vegetation here make it a haven for all kinds of bugs. We have mosquitoes, ticks, fleas, cockroaches, Joro spiders. Yeah, look that one up. Oh Lord, I forgot about fire ants and termites. So when you move here, you have to keep extermination contracts up to date. You have to have the exterminator come on a regular basis to keep these things at bay. Now, it's not like you're constantly swatting something away from you. Most of the time our bugs are in the warmer months and they die off or go dormant during the cold months, but they can be a little bit aggravating. But if you just join your next door community online, you'll get to know all the different kinds of bugs. There are daily posts about what kind of bug is this. Oh yeah, and snakes. Third con on my list is our traffic. Atlanta has some of the worst traffic in the entire country. I think we're tied with number 2 to be the worst. It really doesn't matter what part of Atlanta you live in. Morning rush hour starts around 5 a.m. and evening rush hour will probably last until 7 p.m. or later. It's just part of life here, and it's probably never going to change. And it's really because we do not have a public transportation system, and so we are so dependent on cars. My recommendation is to live close to where you work, if possible. Otherwise, I really hope that you like audiobooks and music for your commute. Most of the time when I'm out showing houses, I actually make my husband come along and drive, and I just navigate. Number 4 con on my list is our state income tax. If you make more than $7,000 a year, you're going to pay our highest rate at 5.5%. So if you make $50,000 a year, you're going to pay a state income tax of about $2,750. That breaks down to about $229 a month. There are some deductions that you can take to decrease this, just like you do on your federal tax return. Personal and corporate income taxes account for over half of the state's funds, and personal income taxes will account for over $12,738 million in a year. No one wants to pay more taxes, but in my opinion, the overall reasonable cost of living here far outweighs the negative of that state income tax. And we got all those parks and trails. Another con of living in Atlanta is that our public transit system is almost non-existent. We have MARTA, but it is very limited. In fact, a recent study shows that Atlanta is number 2 for the worst commute on public transportation. Only 10% of Atlanta's commuters can say that they can get to work in 30 minutes or less using a MARTA bus or a MARTA train. The average is actually 54 minutes on a bus or train. And 6% of our commuters need over an hour to get to and from work. This is proven to be a very complicated and contested issue in the Gwinnett and Cobb County suburbs. So if you're going to be moving here without your own transportation, you're really going to need to consider where you live and work. If you're going to live outside the perimeter and work downtown, you're definitely going to need a car. We do have some park and ride solutions out in the suburbs, but very few people are able to utilize them effectively. Atlanta, like any other city, definitely has its good and bad. I've only lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area and the Atlanta metro area, so I can't even compare that to living in Chicago, New York City, or Miami. I do know this: Atlanta continues to grow year over year. More companies are moving here, and more people are moving here from all over the world. So if you want to learn more about what it's like to live here in the Atlanta area, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell too, so you get notified when I make more videos. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.